Brewing people. Yes, welcome to the Brews at 10. On my left eye, I'm your host Lefty. Very warm welcome to everybody. Dr. Davies has landed in the chat first. Nice to see you, thanks for the complimentary cheese. And Flow Snake as well. Thank you for the show of support with the watermelons. Cheese and watermelons, good. Maybe a good combo? Don't know. Yes, so it's the first Brews at 10 of the week. A bank holiday Brews at 10. No less. And a double celebration. A Victory in Europe Day. And also Karl Marx's birthday. Yeah, take a look at that, or those. Lots more in tonight's stream as well. But let's tend to some formalities first. Buttons and whatnot. Buttons and switches. Yeah, if you want to fill out the poll that's in the chat, that'd be awesome. I'll be going into that topic later as well. It's leadership challenge. Hey Mo, hope you're well. Yes, as well as the poll, make sure you've hit the thumbs up button. Cheese for All, is this a new campaign that you're launching there, Doc? The Cheese for All campaign? I don't know, it sounds like communism to me. Good point there, Flo, about the technicalities. Yeah, it's officially in 3 days. Well, historically speaking, of course. Yeah, right about now they're all doing themselves in the bunker, weren't they? But I'll be speaking a little bit about that shortly. He smirks. No, because that's the very subject of the opening comedy clip that I've got for tonight. It sort of ties in with BE Day and the bunker, and you know what. Alright, yeah, so on yesterday's stream, in fact, as recently as that, I think I brought up the fact that we were expecting some responses in the Middle East. This latest announcement from Israel doesn't look good. There's going to be a mass mobilisation, apparently, including the call-up of reserves. It's supposed to be quite a very large scale operation, well, invasion, occupation, there's better words to describe it. But however you choose to describe it, it's going to be big. This doesn't look great for Gaza, and that they can so brazenly just announce this as though they haven't already done enough. So I'll be taking a look at that as well. This will be a very different perspective on VE Day, by the way, just if you're not familiar with the channel, it's not going to be the usual shots of the pageantry and royalty and whatnot, and there go some horses, and I know there was a fair amount of sensation earlier, wasn't the people? I don't, you know, hope you're holding on to your seats with the kind of riveting breaking stories that were coming from parades involving, I mean, thank goodness, it could have ended up so much worse. A temporarily misplaced water bottle. Yes, but luckily Keith came swooping in to the rescue, spotted the bottle and gave it back to the air quotes queen. But that could have been a close one, and it's certainly something that the mainstream media thought was newsworthy. So no, I guess we'll just really have a bit of a chat about the full meaning behind it, and we've done this before on the channel on last year's Remembrance Day around that time as well. But I just think it's very important to reiterate, you know, certainly after not just what our forefathers in the UK went through, but in a lot of other countries in Europe as well. And are we collectively forgetting those values and lessons? It's definitely an interesting time to be having that conversation. The right here in the UK certainly think that they're going to have an easy stride to victory, and I will be looking at that recently as well. Shortly, I mean, recently. Yeah, Zia Yusuf was in an interview. A few things were put to him about reforms plans. Alright, people, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, there, thems, and comrades alike. A very gracious thank you to all of the members on the channel. This is the latest list. Many humble thanks to all, and you can join this list of awesome supporters for just 99p if you want to check out the perks. Just a quick one to current members as well. If your membership's due for renewal soon, please do keep supporting the channel. Hopefully that'll help us get over this 100 milestone that we've been close towards a couple of times. But yeah, renewing would really help with that, and thanks a lot to everybody, as well as people who've gifted memberships as well. Yeah, you're all fantastic people. Great to see the Brew crew there. And now that I've given a customary thank you to all the members, I can bring the chat up onto the screen. I'm now authorised. Just refresh, and there we go. Right, great to see you as always, people. Looks as though the odds are favouring Zach Polanski at the moment in the poll. I'll give you my 2 cents. We're going to take a look at his, well, I guess it's a campaign video as well that's come out today. What do I think of the chances? Do I think that they should change leader? I'll go into that after we take a look at that video. A few bits to get into first. Yes, Mo, I noticed you said earlier you'd only just heard of him recently. He's currently the deputy leader. That's his current standing, so obviously they have 2 leaders, they have 2 co-leaders in Karl and Adrian Ramsey respectively, so this leadership challenge would be to replace both, I'm assuming, as I'm not a party member myself. Yeah, I think you're quite correct about Winnie, old Winnie as they call him there as well. I think he gets a bit of an easy ride historically when you take a look at a lot of his views and actions. The old V sign, cigar smoking bastard. There are some things that you can't take away from him, that he was a great narrator and he wrote his own speeches, which were obviously very inspiring to a lot of people. Yeah, there'd be a lot to go into there about his other misdemeanours, for example, in India and with regard to striking Welsh miners here in the UK as well. Suffice to say that the first chance he ever actually stood at the ballot, remember of course he was head of the War Coalition, he never won any popular vote to become Prime Minister. The first time he stood as Prime Minister he got an absolute trouncing from the British public. And I believe at the time Labour's sort of campaign slogan was very simple. It was cheer Churchill, vote Labour, something. I might be paraphrasing there, but they did. And then we got an NHS. Anyway, Amber tangent alert withstanding, let's get into some articles and whatnot after. Well, speaking of Churchill, we're going to go straight over to his nemesis, I guess. And as I said, tying in with VE Day, not only is it Victory in Europe Day, I mean, poor old Hitler's having a right time. He's obviously lost the war, but along the way, he's also had to suffer the misfortune of finding out that the release of Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be delayed, which just sort of adds to the tragedy of war.
Nimm's zur Not aus den abgestellten Fahrzeugen, die braucht eh keiner.
6,
Was soll
not
das heißen?
5.
Sie können Fegelein nicht finden.
Wir können den Gruppenführer Fegelein nirgendwo finden. Er ist nicht in der Bunkeranlage.
Guten Tag, Frau Junge.
Herr Speer, wie sind Sie denn noch nach Berlin reinkommen?
Einfach war es nicht. Aber ich muss noch einmal zum Führer.
An Ihrer Stelle würde ich damit lieber warten.
Ich will Fegelein sehen! Sofort! Wenn er sich ohne Befehl entfernt hat, ist das Fahnenflucht! Verrat! Bringen Sie mir Fegelein! 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 Fegelein!
Soll der Eid uns daran hindern, selbstständig zu denken?
Das sagen ausgerechnet Sie. Ein Opportunist. Ein rücksichtsloser Karrierist.
Wie bitte?
That was a bit of a short one, but it's really great. Yeah, check out the parodies page. What was it? You might have spotted this as well.
Wir können den Gruppenführer Fegelein nirgendwo finden. Er ist nicht in der Bunkeranlage.
Guten Tag, Frau Junge.
Herr Speer, wie sind Sie denn noch nach Berlin reinkommen?
Einfach war es nicht. Aber ich muss noch einmal zum Führer.
An Ihrer Stelle würde ich damit lieber warten.
Ich will Fegelein sehen! Sofort! Wenn er sich ohne Befehl entfernt hat, ist das Fahnenflucht!
Oh, here it is.
Verrat!
Infuriating. If you look at the subtitles, infuriating. Very good. Yeah, there's loads of those. All sorts of topics, like they do reactions to politics, sports, games, all sorts. Really good one. Yes, so 80 years. Well, 80 years in 3 days. We've just been over that. Hetty, great to see you in the chat. How you doing? Thanks for joining us tonight, brother. So yes, of course, it was the Soviets who marched on Berlin, defeated the fascists. And now here we are, 80 years later. Unfortunately, as I sort of hinted at with a post on social media, I don't know if you saw that. It seems that unfortunately we probably haven't learned a lot of lessons from what our forefathers fought to defeat. We do still find ourselves generations later having to fight the right in Europe and in the UK. It just goes to show that you've got to be alert at all times, really. Long-term viewers will know how disappointed that I am with the state of affairs here in the UK, obviously, where that's concerned. Nina Sadie, thanks for joining us. Solidari-Tea. Because that's what I think about when there's these commemorative occasions such as this, and as I said, Remembrance Day. Unfortunately, there's other flag-shagging areas of society who think that this is our country's sort of free license to act as though we won it entirely by ourselves for a start. Obviously, Russia had nothing to do with it. The Soviets had nothing to do with it. That's always, obviously, overlooked throughout history. I'm just saying this, you know, as a sociological fact, as well as the number of deaths and casualties during that Second World War were obviously heavily weighted on Russia's side as well, so there you go. Yeah, and I think more than a sort of gloating rights, you know, National Gloating Rights Day, if you wanna put it like that. It should really be for somber reflection and the fact that if you want peace, you have to remember certain lessons from history. And that's what Lest We Forget means. That's what it means to me. It goes beyond honouring the dead, of course. But ironically, of course, these kind of acts that we as a nation fought against 80 years ago still go on today. They're happening right now in Gaza, for example. And of course I'll be getting into that. Graham, great to see you, brother. Welcome to the stream and to the chat. Thanks a lot for sharing all of your thoughts on this topic in the chat. Getting some good stuff here. Of course, need to give a shout out and a mention, as you're reminding us there, Flo, to the resistance movements in occupied countries. They played a huge part. Fortunately, we in the UK weren't directly subjected to that as much as, you know, the French, the Dutch and so on, Belgians. And a shout out to the Italians as well, especially for that. They rejected fascism in the country, overthrew Mussolini, changed sides towards the end of the war, of course. But that was a great deal of people power as well. The French resistance as well, of course, being very notorious. And of course, you don't just wake up one day and people are goose-stepping down the streets. It's a dark path, and unfortunately it's one that we perhaps are sleepwalking towards once again. With the likes of Trump and Farage and Tice. Graham, I don't know what Liverpool football supporters have got to do with this. Oh, I see what you mean. No, Red Army, yeah. Obviously, sheer weight of numbers as well. They're on the Eastern Front. Just a little bit about the picture as well, this iconic picture, of course. I'm sure you've seen it several times before. One or two things I do know about the picture, just sort of a little bit of trivia before I move on. First of all, they recreated this picture. This wasn't actually the picture as the flag was first put on the Reichstag, as this picture's well, I'm supposed to be saying location, which is the location of the picture on the roof of the Reichstag. I think it was recreated a day or two later. Also, the flag, as it were, there, you can sort of see where it's kind of been stitched together. It's a couple of tablecloths, I believe, that were actually used, and you can sort of see where it was stitched together, apparently. Also, today, yes, as I said, commemorates Karl Marx's birthday. So if you're having any particular trouble with your employer, or perhaps capitalism in general, then you might want to ring the Karl Centre. The Karl Centre. And I would strongly recommend that you follow Karl's advice there. Yes, he was born this day on this day in 1818. As well as wonderful concepts of shared means of production, the proletariat seizing the means of production and so on, and the political struggle of the working class. I also owe thanks to him for being able to shut down pretty much 100% of arguments, many arguments that I've had online and such, going right back to when I used to campaign for Labour under Corbyn, which was a fair time ago now, obviously. But nonetheless, any time that some troll or whatnot would try and say that I or Corbyn or Labour or whoever were Marxist, I would immediately able to stop them replying by asking them what Marxism was. Because they think it's just a scary word that you can sort of throw around. Or they do actually know what it means, but they don't really want to describe it in their response, because then people might say, hey, actually, you know what? What was that bit there? You know, that actually sounds like a pretty good idea. Yeah, I see what you mean, you know. Yeah, and obviously his work and Engels' work is essential reading. Going back as well to what I was saying, that there should at least be some form of politics or sociology in the curriculum, in school curriculum here in the UK. This should include things like the work of Marx and Engels. At least to, make them enlightened and educated enough to prepare themselves for how the system that they're about to march into when they go into work after they leave school or further education, that they at least know what that system is going to be doing and how it all works and how there are alternatives. And as well, within his works, the concept of value as well, which seems such like a very simple word when you think about value. You think, oh, well, that's just how much something costs and whatnot. But when you're talking about how much it costs in monetary terms, it also drums up some very interesting thoughts about things like how the capitalist economy works and how the stock market works, for example, and what the value of your work is, your labour. Obviously, as I mentioned, Marx himself being born in 1818, a lot of people's occupations back then were manual labour oriented, factories, warehouses, mines, pits, collieries, this kind of thing. As we came into the peak of the Industrial Revolution as well. Yes, where manual labour is concerned, it's certainly something that not a lot of people think about, and it also makes us think about the value of people power and collective people power within the workspace as well. Could go on, but this isn't a sort of Marx lecture live stream episode. Being very broad and general here, could go on at length. But yes, happy birthday, Karl. And, yeah, do check out, even though I have a very educated audience, I'm sure. Do check out the work of Marx and Engels as well. One final thing, go without saying, as I mentioned, the Industrial Revolution and whatnot here in the Northwest and Manchester as well. Very specific close ties to Marx. In fact, his father owned factories in Salford as well, and he spent a lot of time here, and he and Engels as well would have been chewing the fat on such matters over a table in some of the old ale houses up Crescent Road and whatnot in Salford, so it's said. And there's a great workers' museum as well, just across from where Salford University is now, also. And I was last in there myself a couple of years ago, actually, when JSO were doing a talk. Small world, isn't it? And yeah, I was just doing my shopping the other day. I bumped into Karl Marx, you know. You're right, Karl. Yes, you're quite correct there, Odin. About and communism's the other word as well. When they throw that in. You'll be having your back and forth online, and oh, such and such is communist. Okay, well then, tell us what communism is. And that silence just really, and normally up to that point they responding quick as a flash, very predictable, very routine. This is if you manage to pry them away from using an increased number of laughter emojis. I'd really like to know what Marx thought about, you know, the likes of Amazon, for example, that we have here in the 21st century. From his perspective way back in the mid-1800s. That certainly would be an eye-opener. If he showed him modern production lines, for example, and especially the individual value of some people compared to its lowest earners and whatnot. Yeah, could linger, honestly, could linger on that topic for a while. I'd love to, but there's still a fair few even, further topics I have to go into on tonight's stream. But yeah, let's talk about this more in the future. I'd absolutely love to go into further detail. With those kind of comparisons. For now though, people, gonna take a look at a couple of political matters here in the UK. Well, I guess first off we'll take a look at the subject of the poll, Jack Palahniuk's leadership bid, which he's put in. Now, he does appear to be the only challenger at the moment, the sole challenger, and it does appear that he's proposing replacing both Karl and Adrian Ramsey, who are current co-leaders. He's put out this video, which I'm going to take a look at and analyse, as well as why he might have mounted this challenge at this particular time, seeing as they've just recently had apparent success in those local elections, as well as other polls. But I'll go into that after we've checked out his pitch. So This is what he's put out today, if you've not seen it already.
The Labour government is failing, and the planet is burning. People are looking for somewhere to turn. Nigel Farage and his billionaire mates, they don't offer any real solutions. It's time to rise up. It's time for bold action. And that's why I'm running, to be the next leader of the Green Party. We all know we need a party that is bolder, clearer about what it is that we stand for, and crucially, what we will always stand against. A party that can cut through, not just to those who already agree, but to millions more people. A party that knows inequality is at the heart of all of our problems. Town, village, country, city, wherever you live, inequality hurts us all. A party that will confront fascism and will call a genocide exactly what it is. Now is the moment to build the next generation. New faces, new names, new voices. This is how we'll win. We can beat reform, win more councillors, and send more Green MPs to Parliament. Because we know how to win now, but it's time to aim higher. There are 39 constituencies where we came second place to an increasingly unpopular Labour government, and many more constituencies where we are growing every single day. This is only the beginning. People are crying out for the Green Party to seize this moment. A nature and climate crisis, racist riots on our streets, and inequality growing deeper every day. It is time for bold leadership. When I say bold, I mean bold. For years, I've debated some of the toughest interviewers. And when I say leadership, I mean real leadership. I've seen the difference when you can help empower communities by listening and inspiring people to work together. That's why I'll always use my platform to lift other people up on our estates, in our workplaces, in our faith spaces. We can have environmental, social, racial, and economic justice if we unite, and the Green Party will be the united force to change. Join us for bold leadership now.
So that's Jack Polanski's pitch there to become leader of the Green Party. What do you make of that? It was certainly straight and to the point, wasn't it? Yeah, rather bold. I thought he wasn't beating about the bush on issues like Gaza, social injustice, austerity, this kind of thing, directly calling out fascism as well. Yeah, very good. Quite impressive in terms of the substance of it, but yeah, why now? Just after they've had some apparent success. Well, the thing is that they've perhaps missed an opportunity whilst Labour absolutely tumbling in the polls and hemorrhaging votes, that they're not picking up enough of them, and in a sense that is true. Zach seems to have some pretty bold parliamentary ambitions as well, and I guess you've really got to think bold. We don't have years, decades to spare if we're going to fight against all of the things that he mentioned. So I think certainly the Greens would have to be pretty bold in their ambitions, and he mentioned 39 constituencies where they came second, but also some others as well. So they could even realistically, if they do manage to get through to more of the public, potentially aim for 30 to 50 seats, which would give them a very good foot in the door. They could certainly have a lot of influence in Parliament with that. But with Denyer and Ramsey, as they have now, a lot of people have speculated that they still only seem to be mostly appealing to the middle classes, and they have they've fought a losing battle with the Lib Dems or the middle class, and perhaps they need someone who maybe has a bit more of a connection to the working class, or perhaps does appear to have, at least. But you certainly can't say that they've not achieved a lot in the last 12 months. They quadrupled, even though they've only previously had one MP, they've quadrupled that to 4. And I've got to say, I've been pretty impressed with a lot of stuff that Ramsey and Denyer have said, you know, in media and other things. But again, it's about the optics and perception, and there was that sort of kind of semi-cringy performance piece with the scales, wasn't there? Kind of awkward. If you remember that a few weeks ago. Which I was a bit cringy, and I guess just maybe it's sad to say, but sort of lacking the right kind of energy. I know that sounds like a really cheesy and broad term to use, but sort of vitality and sort of a draw that will sort of create and recreate enthusiasm. But Doc Davies, you have your doubts about Zach. Now, here's the thing, as I said, obviously I'm not a member. I would be lying if I said that I hadn't considered it in the past, especially after I cut up my Labour card. That was years ago now. But instead I chose to sign up for a grassroots party. Yes, so I don't have perhaps the inside information. I've obviously been following them. I do know a lot of members myself. Obviously, I even know a few councillors, some Green councillors and whatnot. The last candidate I voted for was Green. That was in the general election. That was somebody who I know as well. But I can't say we've ever really got onto the topic of Zach Polanski specifically. But I know that you can perhaps take it from other YouTubers such as Helena at No Justice. I know that she's a Green member herself. I'm sure that her insight on this would certainly be worth listening to if you want to figure out if he's got a good chance of winning this. Current standard in the poll here on this stream is 71% think that he will. I guess for me, if I was a party member, it'd come down to how different the direction is going to be, or is it just simply about the aesthetics? Is it the element that having two leaders is too much of a distraction? Are there perhaps some disagreements going on behind closed doors between Denyer and Ramsey that we're not aware of? I don't know. So I guess it's a double-barrel question. It is, should the Greens sort of go back to just having one leader, as they have done before with Caroline Lucas and other predecessors. And if they are going to just have one leader, should that be Zach Polanski? I'm just having a look at a few more of your comments in the chat. Thanks a lot for those. Graham, you think no one else from the left is stepping up? So fair play to Zach for trying to. It's a move forward. It is. I guess it could be a move forward if it's successful for them. Of course, we're still waiting on the news of this group of independents sort of teaming up, aren't we? This independence coalition that Corbyn and other previous Labour members are going to be forming. But in terms of English politics, that certainly is about it in terms of current parliamentary representation, I should say. There are independents in there as well, but everything outside of that is very grassroots. Give us a shout out as well, even if you're watching back later, if you're a Green Party member, what your thoughts are about this. Yeah, for the record, I still would have, I guess I would have voted Green at the last election, even if I didn't know the Green candidate. Yeah, so that's one to mull over. And let's going to take a look at what Zach and everybody's up against. Zia Youssef from Reform. I was being interviewed by Ed Balls. On Reform's apparent promise to reinstate winter fuel payments. Which wasn't great, and yeah, I think they're getting a bit ahead of themselves already, but I'll go into that after we've had a look at this clip.
You're using the word resist, but of course you're now in power in these council areas, so you aren't just a party of protest now, you're going to be governing, and as you said, you want Nigel Farage to be Prime Minister. So let's ask some questions about how you would govern. I think one of the biggest issues, maybe the biggest issue for Labour on the doorstep, was the winter fuel allowance and the decision by Rachel Reeves to take that away from most pensioners. What would you do about the winter fuel allowance? Would you restore it for those pensioners?
Absolutely. We'd restore it straight away. Look, it was saved supposedly 1.5 billion.
How are you going to pay for that?
Yep, perfectly good idea. Obviously, Ed Balls used to be Labour, and he's brought up that obvious fact about this issue coming up on the doorstep so much. It is something that should be reinstated, but this is the pertinent question. How would Reform pay for it?
So it was supposed to save 1.5 billion. We're going to do something else, by the way. You know, one of the most devastatingly unfair things about that was that it happened in the context of Britain having the highest energy costs in the world due to the mad energy policies, the net zero religion that has afflicted almost everyone in Westminster, which will...
I mean, he's all over the place there. Okay, let's go back. He said it would have cost 15 billion to carry on with the winter fuel payments. We're going to do something else, he says. I don't think we're going to get much of a description of what that's going to be. He then bizarrely led to trying to knock zero carbon emissions targets, which is something that I will go into in a sec. Let's just see that kind of windy road he went down there.
The highest energy costs in the world due to the mad energy policies, the net zero religion that has afflicted almost everyone in Westminster.
Okay. Where to begin with that? It's because it's quite infuriating for a number of reasons. First of all, we didn't have the highest energy costs in Europe because of renewables, did we? No, we had them because of fossil fuels. I think that has to go without saying, doesn't it? Surely. There's no debate in that. That is a fact. Are people struggling enough as it was, especially the elderly, without the winter fuel payments? And now there are so many people not receiving that they're going to struggle even further. But his solution is apparently to attack zero carbon targets, to attack renewable energy, and carry on with what led to the requirement for winter fuel payments in the first place. So if you stick with fossil fuels, that's not only going to be bad for the environment, it's also not going to help out anybody who was getting the winter fuel payment, even if they get them back. It's going to be, again, a case of it not being sufficient enough because the bills will just keep going up and up and up. So it's also economically ridiculous as well, as we all know.
Which will verse 2. 1.5 billion. We're still spending 13.5 billion a year on foreign aid. The asylum hotels alone are 3.5.
So you'd cut foreign aid to restore the winter fuel allowance?
Absolutely. Well,
cut foreign aid. I mean, it's bad enough. It's bad enough just how indigenous they want to make this country in the first place. Without things like this, that's just morally reprehensible. It really is. Again, there'd be no hint of taxing the super rich, would there? Oh, heaven forfend. No. If we can't take things off poor people in this country, we'll take them away from poor people on the other side of the world, who perhaps have it a lot worse than we do. At least they go to bed at night knowing that they're not perhaps going to be shelled, or that they know where they're going to be living next week or the week after, because they're not in a refugee caravan that's also being shelled. You know? How is this any different from what the Tories are offering all Labour, either? Why have people treated this party as an alternative? Why is it apparently being a so-called protest vote?
Oh, hold on. It's not
fine.
just that. There's the net zero costs, which the direct cost of the taxpayer of the net zero policies are 11 billion.
Very
They don't. Oh, man. Get real. Get with it. Get with the programme. Honestly, I really hope that anybody who's watching this when it went out doesn't just lap it up and nod their heads. Renewables would be 7 to 9 times cheaper for the consumer. Don't want to talk about how much is coming out of setting it up from the Exchequer, because that's practically nothing, because of how many times over it would pay for itself. The only difference, of course, being that a small number of people don't get wealthy. Which is what he's really against. Because in case you weren't aware of it already, a large amount of Reform UK's funding comes from companies that have links to fossil fuels. Oh yes.
Clear. I asked Richard Tice last week how he would pay for renationalisation of British Steel, and he couldn't answer that. But you answered that question very clearly. Cut for.
Yeah, so that's the kind of response that he thinks is going to win them more votes. When you get to a point where politicians are directly appealing to people's lack of empathy, that really says something, doesn't it? Foreign aid that's meant to support peace, stability and charity all across the world, aid that comes with it, is supposed to be abandoned, and that's supposed to be something that you can go on television and gloat about and win votes in doing so. Is it? Because to me that certainly doesn't seem like a progressive concept. But then again, these are the kind of deluded thoughts that we expect from a party that thinks if it was every country for itself, then we'd be able to rise back to the top, as we did at the peak of our now faded empire, which is as deluded as gets, really. That was Zia Youssef from Reform. Great, deluded. What a load of tripe. Oh, and those DEI jobs that they said that they were going to get rid of and stamp out, turns out they don't exist. So they won control of 10 councils, and straight away it was their imitation of Doge. And yeah, we're going to scrap these diversity, ethnicity and inclusion jobs. And they weren't, because it turned out that the people who were employed there were either elected or, got the, on their own merits by being good at the job, so. Not off to a great start. Yeah, talk about cocky, talk about getting their heads up their own arse. I'm going to take a quick trip over to the States next in just a moment. Catch up with a few things over there, what Trump's been up to. Just a very quick moment, folks. I'll be right back with you. Alright people, so there's been a couple of announcements today. So let's take the latest trip over to Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Yes! We will build a great wall along the southern border.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
That is one big pile of shit.
So here we are once again, people. We'll still be keeping up with Musk's escapades even though he's officially left now. No doubt he'll still carry on with running his company's stock into the ground like a dart. But today's Trump and Musk batshit crazy corner is all about Donald, really. Just a quick couple of announcements. The first one's about tariffs, so let's go and take a look at this. Just go up to the screen. Now, so far, most of the tariffs that he's introduced have been on goods. There's not really been a lot on services and this kind of thing, or artistic licensed products. Until now. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention earlier, we're on 74 for the membership goal still. Sorry, I should have mentioned that before. Alright. So let's see what's happening. So he's going to put 100% tariffs on any films or movies that are not made in the United States. Let's see what's happening. He's going to talk to Hollywood executives after an earlier announcement that he would hit films made in foreign countries with 100% tariffs, sending shockwaves through the industry. The president said on Sunday he was authorising the Commerce Department to start the process to impose the levy because of America's film industry. He says it was dying a very fast death. Well, I think, if anything, he's probably just accidentally accelerated that. So it says, for years filmmakers have been leaving Hollywood for destinations including the UK and Canada to lower costs. But the details are unclear. Specifically about whether those companies that are from America filming abroad will be impacted. Well, that's not going to be great for the industry. It's not going to be great for cinema in general. I think it's also, again, a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to his old favourite adversary, China. The rise of Chinese cinema, of course, has escalated a great deal in the last couple of decades or so. Certainly a lot ever since, I guess, be a good example around the time of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, when that came out. We're seeing a lot more presence of Chinese-based films in Hollywood as well. Across all different kinds of genres as well. And at the moment, I know in Hollywood there's a lot of criticism about people churning out remakes of previous films, about them trying to milk existing franchises and so on and so forth. But perhaps that's the real reason why things aren't going well and audience numbers are down. They're perhaps getting a little bit sick of that kind of thing and they're looking elsewhere. And whether this could reach into things like Netflix, I'm not exactly certain, because if it can't, then this isn't really going to have any effect at all, and Trump's not keeping up with the times. It points out that that's not been clarified in the article, or how it could be calculated, if it will affect Netflix and other streaming sites. And the founder of European cinema chain View, Timothy Richards, has questioned how you define a US film. So yeah, that's a good question. Is it where the money comes from, the script, the director, the talent, where it was shot? Very spurious, very vague language. Of course, it's all hyperbolic as usual with Trump. They use the example of Wicked, which was filmed in the UK but produced by an American studio. So yeah, a few other people associated with cinema across the world have thrown in the 2 cents just quickly about China, just because I brought them up. I think, like I said, they're the main target of this, really. They said last month that they're reducing its quota of American films allowed into the country. So there you have it, really. Yeah, it's just a knee-jerk reaction to China more than anything. Definitely won't help American cinema. One iota, I don't think. Just another quick one as well. Be a quick visit to the batshit crazy corner tonight. I'll be honest, I literally just saw the headline to this and bookmarked it earlier. I've no idea why this is happening, but I thought it was perhaps worth taking a look into in real time. So he's going to reopen Alcatraz, which is a notorious prison. It's just off the coast of San Francisco, close to the Golden Gate Bridge. But why? I don't know. It's all batshit crazy to me. But in a message on his Truth Social site on Sunday, he said, "For too long America's been plagued by vicious violence and repeat criminal offenders. The reopening of Alcatraz, once notorious as one of the United States' toughest prisons, would serve as a symbol of law and order and justice," he said. So, well, it's becoming pretty clear actually now already as to why this is. He's got to have something that he can shout about on TV, in his statements, on social media, and in his rallies and whatnot. So the such and such are going to be going to Alcatraz, and then everyone's supposed to whoop and holler and cheer. That's going to be the thing. So now that he's back in the day, I guess if you go back as far as Bush, you would have had Guantanamo Bay, under Bush and Obama, who didn't close Guantanamo Bay as swiftly as he'd promised to. But it's the same kind of thing. It's iconography, the iconography of its history, because it housed, I think Al Capone died there, didn't he? It's obviously, as you can see from the picture, if you're not familiar with it, it was on this small island. They used to do sort of tourist tours of it. I don't know if they still do. There were only ever a couple of people who ever escaped. It's unclear if they survived. There were a couple of brothers. I've forgotten the names. Was it the Morrison brothers? I want to say Morrison brothers, who escaped by a series of tricks and means. One of them included making papier-mâché replications of their own heads to trick the guards that they were asleep and stuff. But apart from that, apparently nobody's ever escaped. It's unclear if those brothers actually survived the escape attempt. Once you're out of the place, I'm not sure how far it is to the shore, but there's some pretty bad currents and whatnot over there. So it's not just getting out of the building. Anyway, it's been closed for quite a while though. It's been. Let me see. Let's skim through. Alright, so it was originally a Navy defence fort and it was rebuilt in the early 20th century as a military prison. The Department of Justice took it over in the 30s and began taking in convicts from the federal prison system. Among its more infamous inmates are the notorious gangsters Al Capone, so I was right about that one, Mickey Cohen and George Machine Gun Kelly. The prison was also made famous by the 1962 film Birdman of Alcatraz, starring Burt Lancaster, about the convicted murderer Robert Stroud, who, whilst serving a life sentence, developed an interest in birds and went on to become an expert ornithologist. Some happy stories there from Alcatraz. And there was a drama about it in 1979 called Escape from Alcatraz. It's been in other films. The Rock in 1996, starring Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, about a former SAS captain and FBI chemist who rescued hostages from Alcatraz Island. I think there's a fan theory about that film, The Rock, that Sean Connery's character in it is actually James Bond. So it's supposed to be the same James Bond. I don't know if you're familiar with that. So it's, been shut for ages. It points out here it would take an enormous amount of money to make Alcatraz into a functioning prison. Professor Gabriel Jack Chin from the Davis School of Law at the University of California told the Beeb. Well, I was just going to say it's all about the optics, and there you've got Burt Lancaster from Birdman of Alcatraz looking through a microscope. Speaking of optics, that's just ridiculous, isn't it? So now these illegals are going to Alcatraz, and such are going to be going to Alcatraz. That's what we're going to be hearing if this happens. Yeah. How's the wall going? Oh, that Great Wall, you know, the massive one. No. How are those casinos going? Not so great. No? Oh, that's a shame. It's a shame, isn't it, everybody? Oh well. Yeah, we'll wait and see if anything comes of that. So that was the that's just the latest updates. So keep me posted on your thoughts about that. That was the latest edition of Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Yes! We will build a great wall along the southern border.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
That is one big pile of shit.
Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner will return, I've no doubts about that. Only 100 or so days in. Andy Carter, thanks a lot for the gifted memberships there. Great to see you as well, brother. Thanks for joining us in the chat. Showing an awesome display of Solidari-Tea there as well. Thanks a lot for your continued support on the channel, brother. Hope you all enjoy your perks. I'll just crank up the membership goal there. Brings us to 79. Great stuff. Thanks a lot, Andy. Rapid fire from brother Andy. Don't worry, Andy, you've not missed the latest volume of Brews at 10, the album. That's coming up later. As we take a move from the States, excuse me, towards the Middle East now. Not great news, unfortunately, people. It doesn't look great for Gaza. Well, first of all, off the bat, if Israel do go through with these intentions, that's certainly going to railroad the latest ceasefire negotiations. That's something we have to be very clear about. It also comes off the back of plans to expand into the West Bank as well, which came just days ago. So let's see what's happening, people. Just bring this up. I also wanted to say as well, now that we're on the topic of Gaza, I did start to watch the Louis Theroux documentary, the one that came out, The Settlers. Could perhaps stomach about 25 minutes of it before I had to take a break. It started very early on into watching it as well. Some of the things that were said by these occupiers, by these illegal settlers, was quite piss-boiling, do have to say. And it wasn't because of anything graphic or gory in terms of the scenes of the devastation. It was just out of pure anger at the attitude that these absolute fascists display. So I'll give a full analysis, my full analysis, I guess, once I've managed to get through all of that. However, I did want to report to you as well, in case you've not been made aware, there was one household that featured in the documentary, and they've been raided by the IDF. I think that was yesterday when the raid happened. So I'll try and see if anything develops from that story and bring you the latest. But of course, again, that is authoritarian fascism in action, you know. What's the difference between that and the brown shirts? You tell me. You tell me. Whew. Okay. Well, let's see what's happening. I'm sure it didn't take much convincing, but the Security Cabinet has formally approved a plan to capture Gaza. That's where to take that as the entirety of the Gaza Strip, are we? That's we're talking about 1.5 million people here. 2.1 even. What they describe will be a forceful operation. They didn't say how much territory, but stress that they will not enter and come out. Bear in mind they're already under blockade. The population of Gaza are already under blockade. Nothing's getting through. I saw some photographs earlier of the line of trucks stretching all the way to the horizon. Trump's pledged to help to get food to Palestinians over there. Yeah, right. Well then tell your fascist lapdog this is supposed to be to open the gates. Tell him to stop hijacking the aid as well while you're at it. The EU have urged restraint, meanwhile the UK have said that we wouldn't support the expansion. Again, we should be properly sanctioning Israel in that case. We're not doing nearly enough to help the situation. So it says the plan will include, among other things, the capture of the Strip and the holding the territories, moving the Gazan population south for its defence, denying Hamas the ability to distribute humanitarian supplies, and powerful attacks against Hamas. Ridiculous. If I click my fingers and everyone who's fighting for Hamas disappeared in that instant, do you really believe that that would stop Israel attacking Gaza? No, it wouldn't. And even if I click my fingers once more and all of the hostages got returned at that same time, they wouldn't stop. Because they're maniacs. They're trying to herd Gazans here and there, and they're absolutely decimating them as they do so, and starving them. This again won't go towards helping getting those hostages returned either. I don't think I'd be hedging my bets too much in predicting that some or many of the remaining hostages themselves would be killed. If Israel carry out these plans, 100%, you know that they would. The humanitarian country team have pointed out that it contravenes fundamental humanitarian principles and appears designed to reinforce control over life-sustaining items as a pressure tactic as part of a military strategy. It is. And it's starvation as a weapon, which is an international war crime. It's there again. Of course it's there again. Every fucking time. Every time. It's the sort of... it's like the BBC's disclaimer at this point, isn't it? It's their way of saying, oh, and we think that they're okay to get away with it because this... Because apparently an occupied country defended itself by whatever means it could, which they're entitled to under the Geneva Convention. And Israel didn't really like having their arse handed to them on that day. Whatever you think about what happened, whatever you think about the hostage taking, that's the fact of the matter. If a country's being occupied illegally, then it has the right to defend itself by any means. And I've got a great speech that I want to show you. Just bear with me. Is that going to be next? Yeah, we'll go to that next. I do have something else as well about Gaza. Thanks a lot for throwing up the watermelons and the flags in the chat. It's just something I came across earlier on. It's a great speech from a student in South Africa. Called Maleka, so check this out. Obviously there is a lot of solidarity coming from South Africa with Palestinians. There are many, many ways that you can compare apartheid in history in South Africa to the current apartheid in Gaza, of course. So yeah, check this out. Really great stuff.
Down Israel, down! Down Israel, down! Hey, now that's what I'm talking
walking you up now,
about.
isn't it?
Today we're here for the liberation of Palestinians. We are here as South Africans who have faced our own apartheid. Today I'm seeing a lot of youth. I'm seeing youth who are coming from small to tall. There's something important I want to tell you today. Your voice is so important. Never be quiet when there is injustice. You are from South Africa and our youth is special. You have to speak out at all times. Push the boundaries. Never stay in the confinement of what the institutions are telling you to stay in the confinement. Challenge your institutions. Challenge the state. When they say free Palestine, make sure it is free Palestine. You understand? Your voice, you are a force. You are a force in every building that you walk in. Our elders require our action. Your comrades that are not here, make sure at the next protest they're here. To the Zionists, this is not your country. This is not your country. This is South Africa. Down, Zionists, down! Down, Zionists, down! Down, Zionists, down! Exactly. This here is South Africa. Zionists, get out. Cape Town, you house a lot of Zionists. DA, you encourage a lot of Zionists. I'm telling you, yeah, this is South Africa. Amanda! Amanda! Comrades, I won't speak for long, but I want to highlight something. I'll speak back to the youth. When you go home today, I need you to do everything in your power to stand against injustice. I want to highlight that everything is intersectional. When our institutions say no to condemning an apartheid and genocide, it means that we have not moved far away from our own apartheid. So you need to look into your institutions and see how they're treating your students, your staff. You have a responsibility as the youth. Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Free, free Palestine! Pansi Israel, Pansi! Pansi Israel, Pansi!
Certainly no lack of enthusiasm coming from the youth in South Africa there. Great speech again from Maleka. Yeah, brilliant. I don't know if, excuse me, don't know if she's a rep or speaking on behalf of any official organisation or anything, but a great speech. Sorry I don't have any links where you might be able to find more of the same. Well, of course I'll keep my left eye out. One more little bit on Gaza. Of course, I'll keep you up to speed with Israel's proposed re-invasion. Something slightly more positive with an interesting twist on it, I guess. Just finally. The Pope obviously died recently. We're still waiting for the new one to be elected. But the details of the late Pope's will have been revealed, and that included that the famous Pope Mobile is going to be donated to become a health clinic for the children of Gaza, which I guess is a nice gesture, a very charitable gesture. And I've not really sort of gone into the late Pope too much on the channel, but it is said that he was actually a very humble guy. Obviously, the position of Pope comes with certain benefits and indeed luxuries and comforts and whatnot, and apparently late Pope Francis refused a lot of that and whatnot. But this latest gesture, it might seem like nothing. It might seem kind of strange to think that this this car, the Pope Mobile, is going to be turned into a health clinic. Obviously, it's not going to facilitate as many people as a hospital does. But when you think about the fact that there aren't any fully functioning hospitals left in Gaza, and many of them have been completely destroyed, that this gesture will actually be pretty significant in the whole scheme of things. How they're going to do that, how they're going to engineer that, I'm not entirely sure. I guess it's a pretty it's pretty dark humour. I'll apologise, but I dare say it's worth keeping the bulletproof glass on it, given Israel's reputation. So it's going to contain rapid tests, suture kits, syringes, oxygen supplies, vaccines and a small fridge for storing medicines. It explained in a statement it was the Pope's final wish for the children of Gaza before he died last month. The vehicle is currently in Bethlehem and will enter Gaza if and when Israel opens a humanitarian corridor. I dare say that the new Pope will be elected before that happens. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath on that. I can almost see the headlines now. I'll be honest. You know. IDF missile strikes clinic that was former Pope Mobile. Automobiles in the past were bulletproof after an assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in 1981, but Francis told Spanish media in 2014 that he didn't like the glass sardine can designed that separated him from the people. Yeah, I think the glass used to cover all sides of it. It was sort of like, I don't know, a hamster or something going past in a ball on top of a car or something. It's there again, of course. There it is again. There it is again. Is that strange? That has to be cut and pasted into every single article. Caught out again. Yeah, that's a bit of a strange one. Good point there, Andy. It probably would have to be bomb-proof as well. Alright, that'll just about do it for the Mobile story. Of course, as always, we'll continue to show solidarity with Palestine here on My Left Eye. Hail the hamster, Doc. Did you save any cheese for the hamster? Doc was giving out cheese earlier in the chat. In fact, I believe you were the first to arrive, weren't you, Doc, this evening? If you've any left, please do distribute as you see fit. Alright people, moving on. Time to get interactive once again for those of you who like a bit of music with your hot tasty beverage. And the latest volume of the Brews at 10 the album is out, featuring some of your suggestions that have been coming in for tea-based songs and artists. Alright, so here we go. This is the brand new latest edition. You're the first to see it. What have we got?
Do you like a hot tasty beverage with your music? Then My Left Eye has got a treat for your ears. The Brews at 10, the album. All your favourite beverage-based hits from the 1960s to now, all in one place.
Volume 5 is now available, featuring Brew Much, Brew Young, The Specials, No Woman, No Chai, Bob Marley, Papa's Got a Brand New Tea Bag, James Brown, Teenage Kicks, The Undertones, She Loves Brews, The Beatles, plus many more. Order now.
Okay people, so that was volume 5. Thanks a lot for your suggestions. I think a couple of you in the audience tonight might have had one on that latest edition. Keep them coming in. So they'll be coming out every Monday here on the Brews at 10. You still waiting for your PRS check, Andy? That's out of my hands. I think, yep, Phil. It's Phil does the accounts there. Well, I'm assuming we made sure that we could clear all of the songs. I got something else a bit more light-hearted now. This is the latest one from Matt Green, people. Please do enjoy. Regular. Features regularly on the show. Go and give him a follow if you don't know him already.
As Westminster digests the results of the local elections last week, both Labour and the Conservatives are asking how to stop reform. Our elections, defections and reflections correspondent Jonathan Goodenough has more. Yes, that's right, Nigel Farage's party had a good night, winning councils, mayoralties and the seat of Runcorn and Helsby, a result which saw Labour lose by just 6 votes and the monster raving loony party pick up 128 votes. Do you think some of those voters feel a bit silly today? Well, possibly, but many of them told me that it's too soon to judge the government and they wanted to give Keir Starmer more time. Right. And how have Labour responded? They've said they'll listen carefully to the concerns of the monster raving loony party supporters and endeavour to earn their support next time. Really? Not really, but if you change that to reform, you're halfway there. So why did reform do so well? Well, people across the country are unhappy, and reform promises change. Isn't that what Labour promised just last year? Absolutely, Labour ran on change, but were careful not to explain exactly what that meant in practice, and by now it's beginning to feel like when they said change, they meant it in the sense of spare change. What do you mean? Because that's about as much as they've decided to spend on anything. They would say they're trying to fix the public finances after years of Tory neglect, and fighting austerity with austerity is certainly a bold plan. So how will they respond to these results? Well, they could redouble efforts to improve the public sector by raising taxes on the rich. Good one. Or they could campaign hard against Nigel Farage by pointing out that his big project of Brexit has been a disaster and he's closer to Donald Trump than the First Lady. Come on now, be serious. But what they'll probably actually do is keep talking about immigration and basically say that reform are right, you just shouldn't vote for them because they won't actually do anything. Even though many people think they're not doing anything. Exactly. In fact, it's likely that Labour will continue to try to appeal to those voters who'll never vote for them, whilst ignoring those voters who until recently did. Another bold strategy, and one the Greens and Lib Dems will encourage with pleasure. And what about the Conservatives? Well, the question for them is, if Farage is the alien, do they willingly accept the facehugger or try to fight it off? Oh God. And the question for the rest of us is, what monstrosity will emerge and how many of us will survive it? Thank you, Jonathan. Next up, as Trump announces tariffs on films made in foreign lands, we ask, will British films be exempt if they promise to include at least one gun, only private healthcare, and absolutely no Hugh Grant?
Yeah, check him out. Check him out on tour if he's coming close to where you are. Let's zoom in now. You can see some. Hope you can read those dates and locations for later on in the year. Why not? I might go and check him out at the Frog and Bucket in Manchester, yeah. Matt Green, great stuff. Another quick shout out to the members on the channel. Please do excuse me, I'll have to remove the chat to make room, because I want to make sure that everybody can see the names loud and proud there. Thanks a lot everybody for your support on the channel. Got some new names to add this evening as well. Thanks again Andy for those gifted memberships. Solidari-Tea. Many thanks once again, everybody on the list there, and Graham Turner celebrating 5 months of membership. It's been awesome to have you. Thanks a lot for sticking with us here on My Left Eye. Yeah, there were a few topics there on tonight's stream I would have really liked to go into more detail about, but unfortunately time's caught up with us once again. But thanks a lot for being here with me. I'm just seeing who we can raid into. So don't nobody go nowhere. Oh, cool. Yeah, we've got no justice. And I don't just mean in this country, I mean we have no justice who are streaming at the moment, so we're going to raid into Helena there. I'll be joining you, of course. Please stick around for the raid. And give a thumbs up to Helena once you get there as well. Graham, thanks a lot for the super chat. Solidari-Tea, brother. Well, you're most welcome. Always a pleasure to be here with the Brew crew. I'll just give that a thumbs up. What a very nice way to end the stream. Thanks again for that. Yes, so we'll head over to No Justice without further ado. Everybody, I'll hope to see you there. If not, I'll be back with you later on in the week, so please join me for more Brews at 10 here on My Left Eye. Alright, take care everybody. I'll be seeing you soon. Free Palestine and power to the people. Yeah, it's coming up now.